ChatGPT was recently released, and ever since, the internet has been in a frenzy. Now, if you don't know, ChatGPT is a conversational model created by OpenAI, basically an AI that you can interact with in a conversational way. It's really powerful and can help you do a lot of different things, but it sparked a lot of interest and debate over whether it's going to be replacing any jobs, or if this is a step towards replacing any jobs, or whether it could help with any jobs. One of those jobs of concern, of course, being programming jobs. I've spent a little bit of time messing around with it, and I know now how to converse and construct the prompts in order for it to help me generate code snippets. And I haven't seen anyone actually use ChatGPT to build a large-scale project yet, so in this video, I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me build a full-fledged website. And when we're done with the website, I'm going to deploy it to one of the best hosting platforms around, Hostinger, which also happens to be the sponsor of this video. So if you go into the description and you click that link and use code NickWhite at checkout, you will get an additional 10% off your purchase. Hostinger, in my opinion, is the best bang for your buck because when you sign up for that premium web hosting plan, you're going to get a free domain as well as many other perks and benefits you don't get in other places at an affordable price. There's always promotions and sales going on. Right now, there's a holiday sale, and if you sign up using my code NickWhite at checkout, you'll get that additional 10% off. And we'll talk about this more later when we actually deploy our website. So right now, let's get started. Now, I have a lot of programmer friends, and for some reason, a lot of them haven't even wasted their time to bother trying ChatGPT, which is weird to me because it's actually really easy to try out. All you gotta do is go to openai.com, and right at the top, it's gonna say introducing ChatGPT, and there's a button to try it. Now, ChatGPT is completely free to use and try. You're just going to need to register an account with OpenAI, which will take a couple minutes. Now, I already have an account, so after you register, you're going to be taken over to the interface for ChatGPT, which looks like this. It's going to give you some examples, the capabilities, and then limitations, but all you need to be concerned with really is the input text bar at the bottom, which is where you're going to actually interact with ChatGPT. Now, I've actually gotten our conversation started for us already so that we can get into the coding a lot quicker, and the way that I like to interact with ChatGPT in general is to treat it like I'm talking to a person. So I do a greeting, hi ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is a model that's trained on the English language, so it actually understands English and will greet me back. So it's going to say, hello, I'm an assistant, I'm a language model trained by OpenAI, I'm here to help you. So I'm going to say, awesome, I'd like to build a website today. Do you think you could help me with that? ChatGPT will of course respond, certainly, and then it gives me step-by-step instructions to build a website. So I figured for this video, let's treat this as if we were a beginner programmer and I don't have experience building a website before. So we're given the steps to build a website, and the first step is determine the purpose and goal of your website. Basically, what website do we want to build? So we need a website idea, and I figured this is a great place to see how creative ChatGPT can be. So I said, thanks for those steps. Do you have any creative or unique website ideas for beginner programmers? And just like that, we get a list of 9 great website ideas for beginner programmers. Now, I don't personally like wasting time building projects that don't have any potential, so I noticed that we have a suggestion from ChatGPT as a job board for a specific industry. And since programming jobs are scarce nowadays and my channel is kind of career-centered in a way, I think this is a great project. We can build a job board website for programming jobs, and who knows, maybe this could turn into something. So I said, thanks for the ideas. I'd like to build a job board website for available programming jobs. And just like that, ChatGPT gives us a list of the steps to build a programming job board website, which is awesome. All right, great. So now that we have our website idea, we can go ahead and start coding. Now for this video, I want to stick to the basics. So we're just going to be using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I went ahead and made a folder on my desktop called ChatGPT site, where I also added files for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And as we can see, I have all these files open in Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT my plan here so it has this information. And I'm also going to ask ChatGPT to generate some initial HTML for my programming job board website. And just like that, I'll be given an HTML code snippet for my website that I can just copy directly from ChatGPT. So all I got to do is click copy code, head over to Visual Studio Code, paste that in. And if we were to open this file up in the browser, our website would look like this. So it looks like the initial site ChatGPT suggests for us is having some kind of keywords and location with a search, as well as some featured jobs, which honestly doesn't sound too bad as far as a job board user interface would go. Now, of course, we want to add some styles because this doesn't look too great at the moment. Now, thankfully, ChatGPT can help us out with the CSS problem. I'm going to let it know that we're going to be structuring our website so that we have separate files for the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, so it knows that, and I'm asking it to generate some CSS to go along with the HTML. And so here ChatGPT actually generates a lot of CSS for us, and it also gives us that link for the HTML so we can include and actually hook up our HTML to our CSS. So just copy this code snippet, head over to the CSS file, paste, and then let's go over and copy this link tag, go back into the HTML, go into the head and paste that as well. Now in this case, the example link tag they gave hooked up to style CSS. I'm going to do app.css in this case. That's just what I'm used to calling this file. But if we head over to our file now in the browser and we refresh, this is what it looks like. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for about 30 seconds of work and a couple of copy and paste, this is a lot faster for me than Googling template HTML code and actually coding up some template code and CSS for an initial website. I personally do find it kind of impressive that we got this much built that quickly and that easily. Now, let's dive into the details a little bit more. So the featured jobs are pushed up against the left. Now, if this were an actual programming job board website, we'd want this displayed in the middle, I'd imagine. So we'll ask ChatGPT how we can do that. So just like I'm talking to a person, I say, hey, can you help me center the featured job section? And we get provided this super simple line of code. Pretty easy to center it. So we'll copy and paste this. We'll paste this right here, and then we'll go back to our site and should be centered. So now everything gets centered in the middle except for this header that says featured jobs. And I think this is an important thing to talk about with ChatGPT, where I can now go back and explain what's going on and write a prompt to get the code to center this. But since I'm a programmer, I have experience with HTML and CSS, I already know how to center this, right? So there could be a time discrepancy as you use ChatGPT to help you build software where you might actually want to just use your brain once in a while. So in this case, let's do it ourselves. Let's just go into this H2 element, and then we'll do text align center, head back over, and feature jobs is now centered. So now we have a pretty good structure for our site. We have a layout where we're going to have our jobs listed with some details like company name, location, description, and apply now button, which would obviously navigate to the application for the job. And then we have some filters or searches, so we could search by keyword or location. However, of course, the site is not functional and we have no jobs listed. So let's change that. And now I think this is one of the coolest parts about ChatGPT, because over the years, I've done dozens of programming projects where I had to come up with mock data. Now, of course, you could look online for databases or APIs that you could use for free to provide data that fits your schema, but in a lot of cases, you are probably going to have to come up with some mock data yourself so that you could see what it would look like on your site. But ChatGPT is awesome because I can ask it to just generate some mock JSON data for us. So the first thing I'll do is I'll head over to our project directory and I'll create a file called jobsdata.json. And back in Visual Studio Code, you can see that file appears now in the same directory as our other files. Now I asked ChatGPT, can you generate mock JSON data for the featured jobs section? And just like that, we get some mock data that fits our schema. And I think this also shows that ChatGPT has pretty good recollection. So it remembers the schema it gave us for our HTML, and then it generates mock data for us. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to bring it over to our jobs data JSON file and paste. So now we have this mock data, but how do we actually get it displaying in our HTML? Well, what we could do is we could use JavaScript to pull it from the JSON file and display it to our site. And so I asked ChatGPT, awesome, I'd like to use JavaScript to populate the HTML with this data. Can you help me? And then we get the corresponding JavaScript code. So this is our first JavaScript code. I could just paste this into app.js. And once again, there's that time discrepancy. I can explain what's going on. I need to link up my JavaScript to my HTML, but I already know how to do that. So let's just go over to index.html and link it up ourselves, rather than making a prompt unnecessarily. So script source equals app.js, and now our JavaScript's hooked up. Now this also showcases another part about ChatGPT, is that we keep blindly copying these code snippets, but we should actually pay attention to what's going on in the code snippet, because we need to make some changes. It's assuming that we have a file called featuredjobs.json. That's what it's guessing, because I didn't actually tell it what our file name is for the JSON. So we need to replace that with our JSON file name, which is jobs data. So we'll do jobs data.json. And so since we're diving into the world of JavaScript now, I figured let's just accomplish two of our tasks at once. So I decided to ask ChatGPT, hey, I want to filter by keyword and location. Can we add the JavaScript to do that as well? So ChatGPT then provides us with some updated HTML where our featured jobs will get generated with the filter and the population from JSON data. So we'll just copy and paste this. So instead of all of this stuff, we replace it right here, and then we have some populating with JavaScript. And then here's something else that's important to note about ChatGPT is when you get a really long code snippet, like for example, this is my whole JavaScript file, it might actually cut off, and you actually type continue so that it continues the code snippet, and then it will give you the rest of the code. So what we do is we copy this snippet, and we'll go back over to JavaScript, and we'll just replace everything. And then we'll go back, get the rest of it, and finish the code snippet that gets cut off. If I can do that right, there we go. And now if we go to check out our website, we refresh and nothing shows up. So we open the developer console and we realize there's a CORS error. And so I was surprised by how well ChatGPT worked here, but I just pasted my error in and it gave me the solution. It told me that I need a live server to fix my CORS error. And one of the great things about Visual Studio Code is there's a million extensions that do a million things. So if you type in live server, there's this great extension you install. And then when you go back to HTML, you can see in the bottom right, we have a go live button and we can start a little local server. Now, if you don't know what's going on in the code base, you might be like, well, we already centered this stuff. What's going on now? Well, the JavaScript is generating HTML with the data from the JSON. So you actually have to do a little bit more CSS here. So I asked, hey, can I have the CSS to center my jobs data? So let's copy this, head back over, copy, paste, refresh, and it's not centered correctly. So I said the jobs are listed side by side. I'd rather have them vertical. So now we get more code. Let's just replace it and let's refresh. And now they're vertical, but they're kind of like a staircase, which is weird. So I said they are not evenly centered. Some are off center a little bit. And then ChatGPT gives me a great explanation. It tells me exactly why. It says it could be due to the height of the elements not being consistent. And then it gives me more code to fix it. So it's really understanding what's going on every step of the way through building this site, which is amazing. And then boom, we paste that and it's all fixed. And the keywords and locations should be filtered properly. You can see the search button changed to a filter button. So if I type the word software in keywords, perfect. If I typed a location, for example, like Los Angeles, California, it filters there too. So we now have what would be like a basic programming job board website. It's running locally, so it should be able to be deployed to the web. It has some mock data. It can be filtered by keyword and location. I mean, this is kind of what a site would actually look like. We're using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some JSON. Of course, we'd add like a database. We'd add more to the HTML. We'd make the CSS better. But as far as a basic website, in the time we've done this with ChatGPT's help, like this is very fast. Now, our job board website kind of stinks right now. There's only 3 jobs listed, so that's not going to help too many people. So I decided to ask for more mock data, and ChatGPT did not disappoint. They gave us a ton of mock data. So let's copy this and paste it in. I had to do continue again because it got cut off. We'll just copy the rest of it, paste it in. Should do this correctly, and we'll save, go back to our website, and now we have a lot more jobs listed. Now our styling's a little bit lackluster here, and it's hard to distinguish one job from another. It's kind of hard to read this, so I asked for some styles to distinguish one job from another, and we got a bunch of stuff just for the jobs. So let's head back over to our CSS, cut this stuff, and paste. And now let's go back and refresh, and this looks a lot better. And I'd imagine that our new format persists if we filter and it repopulates with the data. So let's try filtering by New York, and then we have 3 jobs. Wow, this is turning into a pretty good website, if I do say so myself. Now, I'm no designer, but I do think these font styles maybe should be a little bit different so that we can differentiate the different properties of each job listing. So that's exactly what I asked for. Can we add some font styles to distinguish different properties of each listing from one another? We get that exact thing that we wanted. Then we go back, let's refresh, and it's looking way better. I mean, this is great. Okay, so now that we have our functional website with mock data, it's looking pretty good. I think it's time we throw this up on the web. And to do that, we're gonna head over to hostinger.com, which once again is the sponsor of this video. If you guys go to the description and you click that link and you use code NickWhite at checkout, you're gonna get 10% off your order. And when you head over to hostinger.com right now, you see there's an amazing sale going on, $279 a month plus 3 months free for premium web hosting for the next 3 days. And in addition to that, when you use my link and code NickWhite at checkout, you'll get another 10% off on top of that. So they're always doing sales and promotions. Be on the lookout for those. But we'll just log in right now because I've already got premium hosting, of course. And my absolute favorite part about Hostinger is how easy it is to use. The user interface is super intuitive and you get things done instantly. So you head over to the website section and you can create or migrate a website almost instantaneously. It's super fast. You hit create a website, create a new website. They have a user interface you could use like a website builder. You could select WordPress or you could code it from scratch, which is what we did. Now you're going to want to buy a domain, and if you sign up for premium web hosting, you'll get a domain anyway. So I already did all this stuff. I don't want to expose my payment information, but I got the domain remotelycode.com, which I think is an awesome domain. So if we go to manage, if you want to host your site, it's this easy, guys. You just go to File Manager. And if I show you right now, remotelycode.com is nothing, right? There's no code there. And when you're in File Manager, you're going to see public HTML directory. This is where you're going to just drag and drop your code. It's that easy. So all there is default.php. Do not delete. Do not do anything to this file. Just go where all of your code is. So we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, JSON. We have all this stuff. I'm just going to drag it from my folder on my computer into this public HTML directory next to the PHP, and we're good to go. It's there, it's uploaded, and the site is live. And just like that, when we refresh remotelycode.com, we have all of our job listings. This, of course, is going to work if we want to filter, just like it was locally. I will link this in the description if you guys want to try it out. I think it's a fun little project that we just built. And yeah, that is live. That took like a minute to host the site. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to continue to develop this platform out, but I think this was a really good showcase of the advantages and disadvantages of ChatGPT. While I don't necessarily think ChatGPT will be replacing programmers anytime soon, I think it's an impressive tool that helps you aggregate data from a bunch of different places all into one spot, rather than being a programmer with 20 different tabs open in your browser trying to aggregate that data yourself. It was cool to see how creative ChatGPT got when it came to coming up with ideas or suggestions or to generate designs for the website. But as far as the drawbacks, I did notice the more I used ChatGPT, the less I kind of knew what was going on in the code base. So I definitely think it's a useful tool, but you should be paying attention to what's actually going on instead of just copying and pasting all of this code. But what is nice is that shouldn't be too difficult because ChatGPT does include thorough explanations of the code along with those code snippets. All in all, as a programmer, I think I will be using this in some instances from now on. And as this technology advances, maybe sometime in the future, programmers will eventually just be entering prompts and then copying and pasting different code snippets. Anyways, I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you haven't tried ChatGPT yet, it's completely free. Go try it. I will link it in the description of this video, so you totally should go try it. Definitely go check out Hostinger. I think it's one of the best hosting platforms around. If you're going to get that premium web hosting, make sure that you click the link in my description and get that additional 10% off your order. And then if you liked the video or you learned something, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Also, drop a comment if you want me to continue developing this platform. I think it is a good idea and probably useful for the community, especially if I could populate it with real job listings that you guys maybe would be interested in applying to. Anyways, that's it for me. Till next time, see you in the next one. Peace.